So that has been the scene in LA for the last 5 days. And I was out there over the weekend and highways were shut down. It was an absolute mess. And we're getting to the point now where there's people that are organizing the chaos, right? And what I mean by that is not the people that are out there protesting. That is their First Amendment right. You can go out there and wave anybody's flag you want. I don't care. But when you start jumping on top of vehicles, damaging property, and setting stuff on fire, your ass needs to go to jail. That's not protesting. That's not, I think, they have something to say, so they're just going to say it. No part of that is okay. So I also saw this clip talking about specifically that, because I feel like the people that are now passing out like organized riot masks and other stuff, these organizations, which by the way are getting government money, I feel like, one, that government money should be suspended, and two, maybe some of these organizations and the people that are organizing, the chaos, not the protesters, not the people speaking their mind as is their right, but the people that are, like I said, causing the chaos. The people that are absolutely causing the chaos, lighting stuff on fire, doing stuff like that, and including those organizations that are being funded and providing the equipment for people to do so, should be charged.
Alert: Marines arriving in Los Angeles and joining the National Guard as anti-ICE protests continue for the 5th day, defying a curfew put in place by the mayor.
Jonathan Hunt is live on the ground in L.A. with the latest for us. Jonathan?
Ainsley, Lawrence, Brian, good morning to you. We are once again this morning outside the Metropolitan Detention Center, which has been ground zero for a lot of the protests and riots. And we want to give you a quick look at that. As you can see, National Guard troops are covering the entrance to the Metropolitan Detention Center. And as you look just behind them, you can see one of those white transport buses that have been used to bring in some of the arrested illegal immigrants into and out of this facility. And it was when one of those buses moved yesterday afternoon that the first clashes of the day really began. Police decided at that point, after having a couple of bottles thrown at officers who were escorting that bus, that they needed to push the protesters back. The protesters threw some fireworks at some point. They continued to throw bottles and rocks at the officers, so they pushed them back pretty strongly. There was once again just one more scene that really riled up the president, and he took again to X this morning to say that this is all the fault of California Governor Gavin Newsom. President Trump writing on Truth Social, the incompetent governor of California was unable to provide protection in a timely manner when our ICE officers, great patriots they are, were attacked by an out-of-control mob of agitators, troublemakers, and/or insurrectionists. Make America great again. Now, it's as a result of all of these riots that we've seen and the looting on top of that, that Mayor Karen Bass of LA introduced an 8 p.m. curfew last night. As that curfew began, hundreds of protesters once again tried to shut down the 101 freeway, which is the main artery running right through the heart of downtown Los Angeles. Police again moved in after the protesters cut through fences to get on to the 101. They started rounding them up. As we understand it, something like 67 arrests were made in all. And as all of this was unfolding last night, Governor Gavin Newsom decided to deliver his own address. It was very much in a presidential style, no doubt, with an eye to 2028. And Gavin Newsom once again took the Trump administration to task. Listen here.
This administration is pushing mass deportations, indiscriminately targeting hardworking immigrant families, regardless of their roots or risk. What's happening right now is very different than anything we've seen before.
And guys, we're just less than 1 hour from this first curfew being lifted now, and we'll wait to see if the protesters come back onto the streets of LA today. Back to you guys.
Jonathan, for the most part, when do you start seeing this stirring? I mean, here it is, 5 in the morning there. When do you start seeing the stirring of the protesters? What time roughly?
Usually, Brian, the protesters start gathering around 10, 11 in the morning, so we're about 5 hours from that point. So that's when we would expect to see them. We're checking all the social media channels, as always, to see where and how they are organizing. I have not seen any calls for them to get out on the streets as of yet today, but it's very early here in LA.
Jonathan, I always wonder, how can someone spend day after day protesting? Don't they have jobs? Don't they have to go make money? But then we're learning that maybe some of them are getting paid to do this.
Yeah, there is certainly organization behind these protests. And you've heard the LAPD chief, Jim McDonnell, say quite plainly the people causing the violence, causing the real problems here, have nothing to do with the cause of immigration. They are, in the words of the police chief, professional anarchists who the police here have seen during the George Floyd riots, during the anti-Wall Street riots, and so on and so on. These are the same characters, according to the police chief, who keep coming out and have nothing on their minds but violence and mayhem.
Right, not even embedded in the cause. It's just doing chaos. Thank you.
Right.
So you got the homeless nonprofit. A homeless nonprofit is handing out PPE for people, as is the LA Poverty Department. Healthy Hearts, you would think, is there for people who need to eat. Instead, they're weighed into left-wing politics. They're looked at as a left-wing group supporting them. And Truro, the Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights, not only got $1 million from Joe Biden's DHS, but also takes money from the Chinese. They're all over it. And Republicans are investigating 200 NGOs that might be promoting these illegal immigrants.
Well, it's the ideology as well, Ainsley. You got people in the kafiyas, pro-Hamas rhetoric that is there. I don't know what that has to do with immigration, but they're promoting that as well. And then I even heard some of the protesters with some of the interviews saying, okay, we have the Mexican flag here because this is really Mexico. So, I mean, we're dealing with people that don't believe in the West, that don't believe in America, that's trying to take us back in time. And there are connections to these NGO groups and all of these activist groups.
Yeah, and NGO groups, your tax dollars. Remember when Elon was starting Doge and he said, all the money we're giving to NGOs, we don't know where that money goes. We don't know how they spend the money, but that's American dollar. Those are American dollars. And President Trump was speaking at Fort Bragg. He said, you want to burn the flag? He said, I think you should go to prison for a year if you burn the American flag.
Well, look at this upside down with chosen distress.
Insane on the highway.
This is yesterday, too. So they have not wised up. You're not going to win over the American public to your cause with Mexican flags in Los Angeles. Kyle Scheidler he's with the Center for Security Policy, and he joined us early to talk about what's going into the planning behind this and where does this money go. Listen.
We have a lot of smaller groups who usually cover themselves as community organizations that do a lot of the crowdfunding to pay for this kind of equipment. You know, those masks that they were showing, they go for about $35 on Amazon. So they're not overly expensive and they can raise several $1,000s pretty quickly. My guess is that they've been preparing to do this since before Donald Trump was president. The strategy, the overall strategy, the political imagery, that stuff will be determined in advance. What the topic is that they want this to be done on. And we knew that they were going to do this on border security and immigration for some time.
This online yesterday, and this is from Barack Obama in his book, The Audacity, Hope, and 26. He said, if I'm honest with myself, I must admit that I'm not entirely immune to such nativist sentiments when I see Mexican flags waved at pro-immigration demonstrations. Sometimes I feel a flush of patriotic resentment when I'm forced to use a translator to communicate with the guy fixing my car. I feel a certain frustration. Now, that's Barack Obama back then. And then you look at the Democratic Party today. I mean, he would be considered MAGA with a quote like that from his book. His party has totally lost it right now.
Well, and did you see on social media, I think we have a picture of it, the tactical gear that they're giving out to people who are rioting, and it's advertised on social media.
And
there it is.
There it is.
These are all the supplies you get if you go out there, according to Operation Healthy Heart.
So the providing of basically riot gear, that shit is unacceptable. I don't care. Like, there's no oh, well, it's okay because, you know, they just want to protect the that's not you're not protecting protesters. You're providing gear for people to damage property and do dumb shit. You should be criminally charged. If anybody is caught breaking a window, lighting something on fire, and they get caught with your gear, which you're out handing out, it should be no different than if I was going out handing out handguns and somebody shoots somebody and kills them. So, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I don't know, you know, what's going to be the end of this. I know they started doing this in Texas today, and the governor didn't even waste any time. They sent the National Guard out immediately. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friend.